So welcome back everyone, welcome back to the channel. And yes, I know it's been a while, I'm really sorry. I haven't done videos in the last few weeks, couple of weeks, even more probably, because I had some issues, and now that I've been resolved, I can be back making videos. And hopefully with this new format where you're not going to see me, you might like it more, not because perhaps you don't like me, but perhaps this might be more enjoyable. I don't know if every video is gonna be like this, but anyways, let's talk about the games. Every national team had a double header in this one, because we are in the moment where the groups are turning around, the groups are going towards the end. We have just one FIFA break, FIFA international break upon us in this AFC second round of the World Cup qualifiers. We have the first few teams that have qualified to the next round, and we had some interesting outcomes. And one outcome, little spoiler, between North Korea and Japan, that didn't give us any result because of I don't know, weird situation, I'm gonna say. Anyways, let's start talking about Group A. Group A had interesting outcomes, but we're gonna start first of all with the Qatar-Kuwait double header. Is probably we had probably the results that we were expecting. Qatar, champions of Asia, had a double header against Kuwait. They won at home 3-0. Then in the away game against in Kuwait, 2-1 win for Qatar. Al Ali with 2 goals gives the victory and the qualification to Qatar. Kuwait now they stay at 3 points, but they are just 1 point behind the second place India, because India have lost their second game against Afghanistan after having a draw in the first one. Is certainly a surprising result. Afghanistan is not a team that lately has been really competitive, but 0-0 in the first game and then a 2-1 victory in this away game in India. The Sunil Chetri opens the scoring for India, but then in the second half we see Akbari and Sharif giving the historical victory to Afghanistan. Afghanistan that have some new players that are playing right now in Europe, and this might be their turning point. And yeah, this is gonna be really interesting to see what's going to happen. Afghanistan that is gonna play against Qatar and Kuwait in the 6th and 11th of June. For India, it's gonna be Kuwait and the Qatar, and for Qatar it's gonna be again, as I said before, India and Afghanistan. So interesting on what might happen in this group. India hasn't really showed any progress that everyone was expecting after the 2023 Asian Cup, and Afghanistan, it's a big surprise. We might have expected Kuwait on being really competitive in this group, even though they weren't in the last Asian Cup. We see what's going to happen, and yeah, that's really interesting to see. Then Group B, double header. Let's start with double header of Syria with Myanmar. Syria was really expected to win big in both of these games. They won big in the second one. 7-0 is the final result on yesterday's game. Yesterday, on the day I'm recording this video, of course. 7-0 is the final result in that second game for Syria against Myanmar. But we have to talk about their first game in Myanmar, where 1-1 is the final result. Syria didn't look good at all. Big result for Myanmar, big point for them, historical point for Myanmar. And in this group, we are really expecting the decision by FIFA for North Korea. Why? Because they played in Japan against the hosts, the Japan. 1-0 was the final result. First minute goal by Tanaka gave the victory to Japan, but then we didn't have a second game because North Korea has rejected the Japanese national team on reaching Pyongyang because of a virus that seems to be happening and spreading in Japan. Honestly, I'm pretty surprised that at this point North Korea went to Japan if they had some issues with this kind of virus. There is also, I remind everyone that there is also one player on the North Korean national team that plays in Japan, plays with FC Gifu, and so I don't know. We see what's going to happen. The game has been cancelled, so FIFA is probably going to give the victory to Japan, but we also have to wait if there's going to be any further sanction on North Korea. What might happen? North Korea might be excluded from the qualifiers, and North Korea might be not excluded, but perhaps they might not be able to play at home in the next 2 games that they had, like they were scheduled to play in Pyongyang against Myanmar and Syria. So we'll see what's going to happen. Of course, that's really important because North Korea is still in the hunt for that second place that Syria is holding on at the moment. Group C, South Korea, China, Thailand, Singapore. We had a surprising result, 2 surprising results we have to say, even though we have to say China and Singapore are 2 teams that perhaps are comparable, and Singapore is a team on the rise. Singapore is a team that is playing really well. In their first leg, Singapore and China tied 2-2. We have Wule that scores twice and has a penalty kick missed on the 31st minute. So 2-0 after the first half, but then Ramil and Mahler give the draw to Singapore. Singapore that have changed their coach. They have a new coach. Now they are trained by Ogura, Japanese person that was facing a new head coach for China as well, Ivankovic, that we remember training Oman in the last Asian Cup. 2-2 that in the second leg played in China, then resulted to a victory for China, 4-1 in Tianjin. Wule again is the one opening the scoring, then Fernandinho, Fule again, and Wei Xiao are the 4 goals for China. The goal for Singapore is once again Ramil. Singapore that stays at 1 point with South Korea that are at 10, Thailand at 4. This is a result of the draw in South Korea in Seoul between South Korea and Thailand. The 42nd minute is the captain Son Heung-min that opens the scoring for South Korea, and then we see Mueanta scoring, assisted by Mikkelson at the 61st minute for Thailand. In the second leg in Thailand, South Korea wins big 3-0. The goals are by Lee Jae-sung, Son Heung-min assisted by Lee Kang-in, and Park that scores for South Korea. Big win for South Korea, that with this they are leading the group and they are likely to qualify for the next round. Then we go to the Kyrgyzstan, Oman, Malaysia, Chinese Taipei group. Chinese Taipei has already been eliminated from the World Cup qualifiers. They're gonna go to the 3rd round of the Asian Cup. We have Kyrgyzstan, Oman, and Malaysia. Kyrgyzstan have had a good doubleheader against Chinese Taipei. 2 wins for them, 2-0 in the away game, and then a good 5-1 win at home. For Oman and Malaysia, we had a 2-0 win for Oman in Oman, and then in the away game, again another 2-0 that right now gives Oman the second spot. We see what's going to happen. It's really balanced between these three teams. We have Kyrgyzstan, Oman, Malaysia at 9, 9 and 6 points. We see what's going to happen. Every one of these teams can get eliminated and can get qualified, but surely for Oman having that game against Chinese Taipei and for Malaysia having that game against Chinese Taipei can be an advantage, because obviously this is a game that they need to win and they are expected to win. Then Group E. Group E is the group where everything is over. It's the only group where everything is decided. We have Iran, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan and Hong Kong that are all qualified for their respective position. Iran and Uzbekistan will continue their World Cup qualifying campaign as expected, and Turkmenistan and Hong Kong will be playing in the Asian Cup qualifying third round. This was probably expected because, let's be honest, Uzbekistan is a team that perhaps should be on the top tier of Asian football. Is a team that is basically comparable to a lot of teams on the first seed position. So yeah, in this case we had Iran playing against Turkmenistan, 1-0 win in the second leg, 5-0 win in the first game. For Uzbekistan, 2-0 win in Hong Kong, and then another win for 3-0 at home. And yeah, that's what happened. So then we see what's going to happen. Hong Kong have played a really great Asian Cup a couple of months ago, so we see what they're gonna do in that third round qualifying for the 2027 Asian Cup. Group F, Iraq has qualified after winning the two legs against the Philippines at 12 points, when we have Indonesia at 7, Vietnam at 3. And yeah, let's talk about Iraq. Iraq, of course, they were the big team in the last Asian Cup. They were the team that everyone was looking as the clear favorite to win the cup after dominating their group stage, but then got eliminated surprisingly by Jordan, just with 2 goals in a couple of minutes. That was incredible. That was really unexpected. And yeah, they wanted revenge. They had a tough game in the first one against the Philippines. 1-0 was the final result. At the 84th minute was Muhammad Ali that gave the win in Basra for Iraq. Then in Manila was easier for Iraq, 5-0 win and qualification reached. Indonesia and Vietnam was a double header that gave 6 points for Indonesia, 1-0 win at home, and then 3-0 win in the away game against Vietnam that have relieved Trussier from his duties, and we see what's going to happen. Vietnam really didn't look good in the last couple of months. They didn't look good in the Asian Cup. They didn't look good in this doubleheader against Indonesia, and they seem really far away from what we've seen even in the World Cup qualifying game against Iraq. I remember that last minute win by Iraq. I mean, Vietnam played really well, and right now things are looking bad, and they need to figure out on what to do and what not to do. Group G, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Tajikistan, Pakistan. Pakistan has already been eliminated, and they're gonna play in the third round of this Asian Cup qualifying. And Jordan and Tajikistan are the ones that are gonna play for the second spot for continue their World Cup qualifying campaign to the 2026 World Cup. Saudi Arabia comes out with a win at home against Tajikistan, 1-0, and then a draw in Tajikistan, 1-1, And yeah, Tajikistan is looking good. They have looked really good with Peta Sagat in the last Asian Cup, and right now they are looking good in this World Cup qualifying campaign. Of course, it's really tough group. Jordan is the finalist of the last Asian Cup. They had double header against Pakistan. They won easily, 3-0 result in Pakistan, and then at home it was a 7-0 result, the biggest result with the 7-0 win of Syria against Myanmar. So the face-off between Tajikistan and Jordan is gonna be in June. Is gonna be one of the most interesting games of this World Cup qualifying campaign so far. Then Group H, United Arab Emirates already qualified for the next round of the World Cup qualifying campaign. Then Bahrain, Yemen, and Nepal. Nepal that have been already eliminated. Nepal that have been eliminated after their doubleheader with Bahrain, where they lost 5-0 at home, and then lost in Bahrain for the result of 3-0. Yemen and United Arab Emirates, they had their doubleheader. UAE won 2-1 at home against Yemen after a goal by Salah in the first half, and then Adil in the second half. It was a pretty balanced game. Yemen played really good, and I have to say they're playing really well in this World Cup qualifying campaign. Yemen 2-1 loss in their first game, then in the second game 3-0 win for the UAE against Yemen, that again they're not playing at home unfortunately, so they don't have that advantage. And yeah, I mean, this group we have UAE that have already qualified. Bahrain is in the verge of getting the qualification. Yemen really need to put up some work and to hope for some good results and to get that qualification. It's still possible, I'm gonna say this, because Bahrain will need to play against the UAE and then against them in the next one. So if the UAE beat Bahrain and then Yemen, they are expected to beat Nepal, they should then against Bahrain have their clutch game to Bahrain and Yemen have the clutch game to qualify. We see what's going to happen. Of course, the goal differential is big, the difference between two of them, but we see what's going to happen. And then we go to our final group. Group I, with Australia, Palestine, Lebanon, and Bangladesh. Australia have already qualified for the next round. Australia that had two home games against Lebanon, and Bacchus is the one opening scoring in the first leg, and then Rose closed the game in the second half of the first leg, where that resulted in a 2-0 win for Australia. Australia that didn't look great, I have to say, in this first leg against Lebanon, but in these games you need to be solid, you need to get a win, and that's what they did, so that's good. Lebanon didn't look bad in the Asian Cup, so I mean, it's not that easy to beat Lebanon if you're Australia, and Lebanon is a good team. And even though they have lost 5-0 in the second one in Canberra, Australia wins big with the goals of Yengi, an own goal by Jradi, then Goodwin, Iredale, Goodwin, that close scoring 5-0, that gives the qualification for Australia. Second place we have Palestine that had a double header against Bangladesh, and the first game was an easy win, 5-0 result. The game was played in Kuwait, and then in Bangladesh there was a really tough win for Palestine that got the 3 points at the 94th minute with Termanini. Big win for them, and right now they are on the verge of getting qualified, and we see what's going to happen between Palestine and Lebanon in their direct matchup that is going to happen on June 6th, and that's gonna probably be the key game for the qualification. anyways, we see what's going to happen. This is a pretty long video, 20 minutes. I hope you're gonna like it. I'm gonna hate edit this video. I know that, I already know that, but it is what it is. And yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and see you soon.